We've already reviewed the new Audi A3 here on Carbuyer, and the major issue with that car is that it's not that great for rear passengers. Well, Audi has released the Sportback version, which, as you can see, has some handy rear doors. Obviously, they make it much easier to get into the back of this car, and when you're here, you notice that it's more roomy than the normal A3, and that's because its wheelbase is about 3.5 centimetres longer. Now, that's probably about that much. Doesn't seem like much, but it does have a great impact on knee room. Also, because the roof line doesn't slope at the back, headroom's good as well. I should point this out though, yes, there is a transmission tunnel, which isn't great for whoever gets the middle seat, but it does mean that you can get this car with Audi's Quattro four-wheel drive system. Now, if you follow me to the boot, I'll show you some other things. It's actually 30 litres bigger than on the normal A3, and if you're wondering how much that equates to, well, here's a demonstration for you with what has to be the biggest Carbuyer big bottle test I've ever done. Also, if you look in there, you'll see that you've got an adjustable boot floor, and then fold the seats down, you get a flat load bay. And in fact, the actual load height, this car is pretty low, so it'd be easy for your old dog to jump into the boot. And to prove it, this old dog is going to jump into the boot. See, simple. In the front, the A3 Sportback is identical to the normal A3, which means it's very stylish and extremely well made. There's also plenty of storage space dotted about the place, so you don't have to worry about all your clutter ruining the ambience. As with all Audis, you could spend an absolute fortune on options. The trick is resisting doing that. And really, the SE model, the entry-level car, it has pretty much all you need. You've got things like air conditioning, you've got Bluetooth for your mobile phone. It's got this rather cool pop-up screen. I mean, look at that. I really like the action of that. Let's watch it again. You can actually upgrade that system for £500 to include sat-nav, and of course you've got connection for your iPhone and iPod. Yeah, if you've got an iPhone 5, you can't connect it because Audi hasn't made the connector yet. So, good job you've got that Bluetooth I mentioned earlier, eh? You can get the A3 Sportback with a range of impressive small turbo petrol and turbo diesel engines. Now, most people will be tempted to go for one of the diesels because, well, we kind of are, aren't we, these days? But I say don't do that unless you do absolutely huge miles, because the amount they cost over the equivalent petrol will take you quite a lot of miles to make up in terms of fuel savings. And anyway, I reckon the best engine is the one in this car. It's the 1.4 TFSI because it's quick enough, it's smooth, it's quiet, and Audi says it will do 54 miles per gallon, which, come on, let's face it, that's good enough, isn't it? Do you know what? I'm going to give you another piece of useful buying advice, because you don't need to go for any of the sporty models, because this SE version of the A3 Sportback steers sharply and corners well enough. And anyway, the S-Line model and the Sport model with their lowered stiffened suspension don't ever handle any better. And actually, their firmer setup ruins this car's otherwise smooth ride. Due to its longer wheelbase, the Sportback deals with bumps even better than the 3-door model. The ride is especially good on the 1.4 and 1.8 TFSI petrol cars and the 2-litre diesel, as they feature more sophisticated independent rear suspension. And this, plus the Audi's super soundproofing and comfy seats, makes it a very relaxing long-distance cruiser. You may be thinking this is the perfect small car. However, it's not going to be for everyone. You see, it might have sport in its name, but the sportiest small premium hatchback is still the BMW 1 Series, and because it has rear-wheel drive, it's actually more fun to drive. Also, the fact that we know, don't we, that this is essentially a Volkswagen Golf underneath the skin. Yeah, it costs more than the Golf, which is, well, I think it's actually just as good. So really, you pay more for the Audi just because of its badge. Finally, there's the design, because while this car may look smart, if I hadn't told you at the beginning of the review it was the all-new Audi A3 Sportback, you probably would have known, because it looks almost identical to the old one. And that's a bit of a shame really, because it's actually a much better car.